Welcome to another market update. Today is September 9, 2018. Well, looking at the market here, we see that last week the market finally got a little bit of a pullback, and that was one of the scenarios that we were also looking out for. So let's take a little bit of a detailed look at what transpired last week and see what we might be what we could expect this week here, this coming week. So looking at the S&P 500, you see that look at the chart, it has not done too much of a damage, although on a daily basis I think it might look or feel a little bit worse than what it look on a weekly. So let's take a look at the daily here. As you can see on the daily, we were looking for a maybe a possibility of a flag that might get a little bit pivot up, and the other scenario was coming down and fill this gap and come back and retest this pivot high here, the previous all-time high. And as it turned out, that's basically what it did. It came down and it closed pretty close to that previous all-time high, that pivot high there. So right now we're going to be watching next week to see would it be able to come back up and bounce back and move back up to maybe possibly shoot at a new all-time high again. Or if it continue to break this level here, then we'll probably be looking at a potential test of this 2,802.49 on the S&P 500. So the key level to watch is the 2872.87. If we could get back above it, then we're probably looking for the market to consolidate a little bit and then try to make another push up to retest the all-time high. And similarly on the Dow Jones Industrial, it consolidated down here. We're expecting if it pull back, we probably see a little bit of a pullback to this area here and fill this gap. And right now it's still consolidating. So basically watching to see is it going to be able to break above this and get above this area here, then possibly come up and test the all-time high. Or if it continue to break down, then we'll essentially look for this pivot here, the 25,608. And if it can't hold that level, then we continue to look for this level, 24,965.80 for potential test of support. And the Dow Jones Transportation, again, we're basically looking for some sort of consolidation or a continuation to move up into the new all-time high territory. So right now it's still consolidating in this zone. So again, we keep on watching to see what it be able to break out above the all-time high or come back down and test this 11,253.1. If it can't hold that level, then we're basically looking for it to move down to somewhere around 10,977.8 for potential test of support down that area there. And then look at the NASDAQ 100. That's the one that brought the most of the damage. And one scenario we're basically looking for this gap come down, test this area here, this 7,508.59, and we're essentially looking for a test of that. If it can hold, then it will most likely come down and fill this gap. And if it can't, go under the 7508, then we're essentially looking for this 7308.52 as potential support. So basically keeping an eye on this this level here next week to see we'll get a little bit of a consolidation and then push back up. Or if it cannot hold this level, then essentially we'll be looking at this 7158.78. So again, 7508.59 is the key level to watch to see would it be able to get back above that, and then maybe make another push toward the all-time high. But if it's continue to pull back, then the first level to keep an eye on is 7308.52. And the Russell 2000, it also pulled back last week to this pivot level at 1708.60, and it's kind of holding that level right now. So we want to see would it be able to consolidate and then push back up to the all-time high, or would it continue to pull back and break this level, 1708.60. And if it breaks this level, then we'll be looking forward to possibly pull back to 1663.50. And then finally looking at the VIX here, as you can see, the VIX is also slowly creeping back up, and we want to see would it be able to hold this level here next week. So I want to see this level to see would it be able to hold and come up and test this level, or would it come back down and get back into this support zone again in that area of 10 and 11. So if we get a spike up, then I'll be watching for this 19 and 20th level here. Okay, so that's the market index and the VIX. And next we'll take a look at some of the FANG stock and some of the momentum stock. All right, let's start off with Twitter here. And last week on Twitter, we're essentially looking for this consolidation zone to see would it be able to bounce out and break above this consolidation zone and possibly get back up at this post-earning pivot high here. And the other thing was if it's going to pull back, we're basically looking for the possibility of maybe this band will provide some support. As you can see that it came right through and did not find support up here and broke through the channel, and even this trading band was not able to provide any sort of support and actually closed below it. So right now we're essentially looking at maybe this low volume area might be providing some support here, which it came down on last Friday and got a little bit bounced. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that to see would it come back down and retest this low volume area. And if it continue to pull back, the next area will be somewhere around this 28, 24-ish area here. So we'll probably be looking at somewhere around this zone here. Okay, so that's what we are going to be watching Twitter to see would it be able to get back up to this this trading band and reestablish itself, and then try to repair the damage and see could it continue to push back up. And looking at Twitter, if you have followed me on my Twitter stream, you would have seen a chart that I posted in sometime last week, and saying that we're expecting the price to at least come back down to this level here, somewhere around this 275, 272. And as you can see, it actually broke below that, and right now we could see a retest of this 244, 245 here. So we'll see would it be able to try to hold some ground here and make it back up here. If it's not, then we're essentially looking at this particular pivot low as the next area for Tesla support here for Tesla. For RUKO, we're basically looking for the possibility of come back up and get above this this pivot here, and then once you get above this pivot here, to essentially make a higher high, and we'll expect to see this thing move above the previous high, which it did, but on this pullback a little bit steeper than expected. Essentially I was looking for maybe a pullback down to this band here, this support zone here, and then push up. So if you put your stop too tight, then you might have got spooked out on this. But again, the price action basically is sort of pointing continue upward here, and even though right now you can see that's a little bit of a pennant, so So we're kind of keeping an eye on this thing here to see. And for Netflix, we're watching for the possibility of this thing come back up to this upper band here in this, this balance zone. Instead, it came back down and retest the lower edge of that, and right now it's still hovering at the lower level here at this balance zone. So I want to keep an eye to see would it be able to bounce back up, and work itself back up to this, this engulfing candle high here, or would it be coming back down, break this zone, and work itself back down to retest this area here, somewhere around the 312 area. So that's basically for Netflix. And finally, looking at Apple, as you can see, Apple here on a daily put in a sort of like a hangman doji, and then follow up with a outside bar here, engulfing candle, and you can see that it's pulling back. So essentially right now we're probably looking at potential test for support down at this pivot. Get a closer look on the intraday chart here. So right now it seems to have broken this level of support here and came back and back tested and unable to get back above it. So right now we might see Apple come down and test this level somewhere around 219.18, somewhere around here in this zone here, to see would it be able to kind of consolidate here and get a bounce. So we'll keep an eye on that. If it is unable to hold this level, then we might be watching it maybe come down here at this high volume area and try to consolidate. Okay, so that's the quick look at the market and some of the stock that we've been following. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are not a subscriber of my YouTube channel, click on the subscribe to subscribe. And good luck on your trading, and then have a great week.